When the Beatles released their first single, Love Me Do, way back in 1962, I don't think too many people, including Paul McCartney himself, would have predicted that he would still be touring the world and making highly anticipated records 64 years later. It's pretty incredible. But as some of you may have heard, Paul McCartney has a new album and a new single called Days We Left Behind. And I think I speak for all Beatle fans and Paul McCartney fans when I say, we cannot take this for granted, folks. This is a gift. Paul McCartney is now 83 years old, and sadly, nothing lasts forever. So let's enjoy that we still have the opportunity to say, hey, did you hear the new McCartney tune here in 2026? And it's in that spirit I'd like to do a quick reaction to the new song, Days We Left Behind. I've heard it a couple of times so far, and I want to just give my first impressions and maybe even a little bit of a musical breakdown. So here we go. I love when Paul plays acoustic guitar. He has a very unique fingerstyle approach to that instrument.
Looking back at white and black, reminders of
course, a pretty little melody.
Smoky bars and cheap guitars, but nothing built to last.
So the first thing I noticed is Paul seems to have tuned the guitar down a half step, which is interesting. That's not something I don't think he's done a lot during his career. Anyway, it gives the guitar a slightly more resonant sound, and it can also help vocally make it easier to hit some of those high notes. It's a nice little progression, and as usual, I'm just going to call out the chord names as if we were still in standard tuning. It's just easier that way. So we got a C add G, and this next one is interesting. I think I'm going to call it C major 11. So we've still got the C bass note. The open B string is the major 7th of C, but then an F on top. That's the interesting note. That's the 11th. It lacks a third, but I'm still going with C major 11th. How about C6? We added an A there, and then back to the C major 11. So really just variations on C, but in terms of the mood and the picking style, it reminds me of Mother Nature's Son from the White Album, which is one of my favorites. I know you guys remember that. Now let's go back and listen to that verse again, along with the first chorus.
Looking back,
this song is all about reminiscing. Paul going back to his youth in Liverpool. The album's called The Boys of Dungeon Lane. Dungeon Lane being a street very near Paul's childhood home in Liverpool. Here's the chorus. G, F, C, G, A minor, C. It occurs to me that this song makes a great companion piece to Penny Lane, written way back in 1966. I think that was really the first time Paul looked back in his lyrics to his childhood. But while Penny Lane is a series of vignettes paying loving tribute to the characters that he grew up around, the barber, the banker, the fireman, this song is intensely personal. That chorus is starkly moving. Nothing ever stays, nothing comes to mind. No one can erase the days we left behind. We get another verse, a chorus, and then the bridge, which I love. Paul would call it the middle eight, though. I've noticed the Beatles love to use that term. It's kind of an old-fashioned term. But it comes about because that section of a typical pop song generally has 8 bars. Let's see if this one fits.
The days we left behind.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2.
Wrote a secret code to never be spoken.
That's 4 bars.
I stand by
5,
what I said. The
6,
promise that I made
7,
will never be broken.
8, 2, 3, 4,
Nothing
and back to the
ever
chorus.
stays.
It's just such a tried and true formula that works. And by the way, a middle 8 often features a shift in mood, and that's absolutely the case here. I like the way Paul goes to a minor feel in this section, A minor to E minor. Just kind of makes the whole thing seem even a little bit more serious. And I've got to talk about Paul's voice, which I love in this one. I have to admit, sometimes when I hear Paul doing the old Beatles stuff these days, I get a little bit sad because it's not the same. Those were some intense vocals he did as a young guy. We can't expect him to live up to that standard. But in this song, I love the fact that the voice is not as strong. It's a little bit shakier. But for this tune, it fits perfectly, right? Here's an older man looking back on his life, getting a little bit emotional. It's just perfect. So just in case it's not obvious by this point, I give this song a resounding thumbs up. Congratulations, Paul. You continue to amaze. Just another great chapter in probably the greatest career in the history of pop music. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys fans of this one? Hopefully we get a lively comments section going. Thanks so much for watching to the end, and we'll talk to you soon.